There we go. And now we're rolling.
Yeah,
And
I see
we're
that.
back. It's crazy. We're back.
Verna, are we not doing a cold open?
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Draft Digest. The sickest NFL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
We need to do this more often. Welcome back to another episode of the Sick Podcast Draft Digest. John is back. I'm going to kill Jimmy because that cold open was terrible. I am so rattled because I wasn't sure if we're doing it, and then he cut it. It was probably going to be hilarious, like all of the takes that we do, but
no, that one works because it was so like, oh, are we not doing that today? No,
boom,
the intro. Let's roll.
We're here. We're back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been kind of wild these 3 weeks. My watch told me I was like 20 hours in sleep debt, so I have been sleeping in a lot here lately. But I did manage to catch some football this weekend.
Good. You picked a good weekend to return.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend, both in college and in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me to my first point here that, I wanted to get into. Okay. The quarterbacks, I think, have been very underwhelming across college football this year, which is that's different. Typically we have.
Can I just jump in because I'm not a quarterbacks girl at all. I have had to become one because of this column that I do now for PFSN, and I told the guy going in, I was like, "Are you sure? Like me? You want me to do this? Because like I would run the ball every down, all downs if I could, right? Because I like throwing it to me is so pointless. But I was." To your point, I was talking to my husband as we watch all these Cowboys. I've been watching so much more NFL. You'd be very proud of me. And I was telling him there is a significant difference between last year's quarterback class and this year's in terms of how careless they are with the football and how kind of, and I don't want to say this, I don't mean this to be mean, but incomplete their game is. Like there's a lot of things that these guys do well and they're really fun to watch, and I will say that they may be a grittier class. Like I like the grit, I like the gamesmanship, if you will, but technically it's a little rough. So I agree with you, and I don't know if it's development. Is that what it could be? Is that there's just a lack of development of them, or maybe it's just not that strong of a group, like in totality?
Well, I think first off, it is development.
Okay.
This is something that, coaches, scouts have been kind of harping on me here for the last couple of years. And now I think we're seeing the fruits of it. College football has changed so drastically with NIL that it's really hard to bring in a guy and want to put that commitment in to develop a guy, especially if you know that he's going to go to the portal and take a $2 million bag, to go to another school. So, it's kind of created this conundrum where it's like, well, do you help the guy or you try to set up the team? Do you try to set up the team, for now? And so everything in college football has become about what's going on now. Yeah. Not next year, not 2 years, not 3 years down the road like it was traditionally. It's all now. So what that's kind of done is now instead of putting in some work in the off season or during, practice throughout the week, you only have like 10 hours with these guys a week on the practice field. You're focused completely on install, trying to get that offense into the same rhythm and routine as everyone else. Yeah. What that's kind of created is now, footwork is terrible. People aren't processing because it's all about, hey, get the ball out as fast as possible and let's just make this thing work. Yeah. So that's kind of the tragedy that's come out of this, I think. It's the fact that, we're not developing these people. The quarterbacks that we thought were going to be really good. Drew Aller, really poor showing against Oregon, his first real test. Now he kind of lit up there.
Did we think he was going to be good? That was the consensus.
There were a lot of people
bought in on him, and that's. I think honestly, it's more that I don't buy in on James Franklin from that standpoint of the development. So I don't know that it's his fault per se. You know what I mean?
No, I pointed that out many times, and
Yeah.
I think here and on the radio shows and stuff that I do that, James Franklin has traditionally ruined quarterbacks. There's no getting around it. No getting around it.
That's rough.
He's had some good guys there.
Mm-hmm.
Now
what's crazy is they get hurt too. So I'll never forget the game. I was at Iowa when Penn State played them, I think 2-3 years ago. And I think it was Sean Clifford. Got hurt very bad, and for no real reason other than they just were not protecting him. He was not moving correctly. It just seemed like for nothing. You know what I mean? And then
part of that was that year. So Penn State doesn't recruit technical guys. They go after guys that are athletic and traitsy, and they pride themselves in developing them when they get to Penn State, which they've done a great job with outside of the quarterback position.
Yeah.
You think about these defensive linemen, Micah Parsons, Abdul Carter. I know that now we have Dennis Sutton, who is an absolute freak in nature. They traditionally put those guys out. They have a lot. Saquon Barkley came from Penn State. Miles Sanders has looked really good running the ball for the Cowboys, I think, and he's looked really good. He looks like he's making a resurgence. So, they want those traitsy guys, and they'll develop them. And I think that year their offensive line was really young, so they weren't really developed.
Yeah,
and that was kind of part of the issue that year. But it was, Clifford. You look at Christian Hackenberg a few years ago.
Yeah,
who he had a great year before James Franklin got to Penn State, and looked like he could be a first round pick. He ends up going second round because of that freshman season. But as soon as Franklin got there, he was a totally different quarterback. I think that just kind of goes back to coaches like Franklin. Franklin's not the only one of them. They all do it now.
Yeah.
They just don't develop these guys. They don't work on, hey, let's get your feet down so that you can get the ball to the place where it needs to accurately go so that you can get it out faster. You know what I mean? To me, that seems counterproductive. But then again, you only have 10 hours a week with these guys. During the season, so you kind of have to squeeze in as much as you can, and you want to get as much of that done in the off season as possible. So it's a conundrum that's created, a natural conundrum.
I want to have I think a guy who would be really interesting to talk about this with, and I was trying to get him on possibly when you were gone, but now that you've said this, I think this would be good, is offensive coordinator Tim Cramsey. He's at Memphis, and he's developed great quarterbacks there. He developed
Seth Hennigan,
yeah, exactly. Seth Hennigan. But he also was with Grant Wells back when he was at Marshall. So he's always had a knack for that and developing them. And he has a really interesting take on the portal and all of that stuff. And he's talked to me about it, kind of just off the cuff in private, but I think he'd be really interesting to have on because he's like, I'm honest with these guys. And that's how I think he resonates so well, and they've been able to keep the guys at Memphis that they have, is because he's very honest about it. But he would be a good guest to have on. So maybe we'll try and set that up because it's tough out there for coordinators, especially because head coaches is one thing, it is what it is, but coordinators, my God, if you're not figuring out a way to get production every year, every half a year, every whatever, then you got to be scared for your job.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And we know, that I've harped on my guy on this season, Garrett Nussmeier. He just had a rough week.
Yeah.
Rough week. It looks like that lower body injury that he's dealing with is really starting to come back into the picture. They got a bye week, so hopefully he settles back in and, that kind of gets back under control.
He's a magnet for internet fodder. I mean, there's a few things obviously that have blown up.
Love that you're bringing this up. I was going to do this too.
Well, I was going to talk about probably one that you didn't even think about or were not paying as close attention to, but Lane Kiffin's daughter and that whole, storyline with Ole Miss and LSU, whatever. But I saw the story, or I don't even know if it was a story because I don't want to give it legs, but something about him being like drunk or looking like he was drunk during the game, Nussmeier. And I was like, what? Why would someone why is he such a magnet for these weird, conspiracy theories, I guess?
The thing that's funny about Nussmeier, I don't know what that is. I think maybe it's the fact that the media kind of picks their people that they like, especially at the quarterback position. And when football people like somebody that the media doesn't, the media goes out of their way to try to,
go after
constantly
him.
put him down. Baker Mayfield was like this a few years ago.
God,
remember
Baker
at Oklahoma?
Mayfield was my favorite and is my favorite, and I will stand by everything he did. Like, I loved him. But yeah,
it was that same type of the media constantly.
But I think he brought more. Like, I don't know that much about Nussmeier as a person. I don't think he's done things like planting flags or
no, he hasn't done anything like that. No,
he seems a little more tame. So I'm not sure why they're coming for him, other than maybe it's just LSU, and this is LSU people being able to come for LSU. You didn't come for LSU when it was Ed Orgeron, because who would want to go toe to toe with Ed Orgeron? But I think now, with the head coach they have and the culture shift, it's a little easier to come swinging at them. They're kind of low hanging fruit, if that makes sense. So maybe he's just collateral damage.
Yeah, but I also think that it's a lot of NFL people like him.
Yeah.
He's probably the number one quarterback in this class at this current moment.
Mm-hmm.
That being, and he comes from a football family. His dad's been an offensive coordinator in the league, and a quarterback's coach for a long time. So he's got that football pedigree, and I almost think that it's perceived to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotism. We just saw this with Shedeur, right? But it was the opposite with Shedeur, where the media absolutely fawned over him. But it's that same kind of thing that happened.
That's what I'm saying is you didn't want to come for Deion Sanders. I mean, I don't care. I would, but I feel like in general, you're not going to come for Deion because Deion will come for you. And is, you know what I mean? And I think it's the same, but I think the leadership at LSU, it's always felt off to me since the transition. And when they hired, I'm blanking on Brian. What's his last name?
Brian Kelly.
Kelly. Jesus, I don't know why I was blanking on him. I've covered him forever when he was in Notre Dame, but when they hired him, it felt off to me, right? And then we saw the cringy videos and all the weird stuff that happened in the beginning. But he's just not a guy I would be scared of, even playing against.
2 points here to wrap up with Nussmeier.
Yeah,
but it was bothering me watching the broadcast because. Greg McElroy's calling the game against Ole Miss, and they're just sitting there, just low key crapping on him the entire game. It's just another bad throw and another bad decision. He just really makes too many of these. And it's like, did you watch the last 3 weeks?
Right.
Are we going to base everything this guy? Yeah. This guy played in a phenomenal game against Clemson, and nobody said anything about it except me.
Yeah,
and I think it's a little bit of that.
They haven't. I mean, this was a big game moment for him to kind of rise to the occasion. Clemson's not panned out.
Well, Clemson is panned out horribly, but at that point, that was a huge. I think
people are right? Well, those aren't as impressive. Had he stepped up, I think it would have been. I think people would have given him flowers if he had a good game, but because it was so rough. They just came for him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Baker. It's the exact same thing. It's like 2018 all over again, except we don't have 4 other really good quarterbacks to prop up there and be like, hey, these guys are better options. And 2 of them perhaps ended up being better options than Baker and Josh Allen Lamar. But 2 of them absolutely did not end up being better. So anyways, point – this quarterback class has just gotten really weird. I can't think of a year that I've done this where it's been like this. Because 2021, you had Pickett, you had, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, and everybody was kind of.
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Oh, does
Everybody
it?
was kind of, hey, these guys, there's a lot of media hype, and I was like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I liked Willis. I was okay with Pickett. The rest of them, I was like, no, that's about it.
Yeah.
But this is just, it was like these guys flashed things all last year, and we came in with, okay, this guy could be good. Drew Aller could be really good. I know I keep bringing up Aller in this because I'm trying to remember some of the other guys. That's how bad it's been. Klubnik was supposed to be really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of hype for him. And what we've kind of ended up with is when I've been talking to my friends and stuff in the league and the scouting community, the guys that they really like are CJ Bailey at North Carolina State.
Interesting.
Which I haven't watched a lot of North Carolina State, but Bailey, I think they played a real tight game. Was it East Carolina with somebody along those lines?
Yeah, they did have. Yeah, that was a good game.
He looked pretty good from the little bit that I saw of it. And the other guy that keeps popping up, believe it or not, this is might blow your mind a little
bit. Hit me.
Diego Pavia.
Oh, no, that doesn't surprise me at all. His numbers are good, and
his numbers are good, but that's the thing.
What he's doing for Vanderbilt, it's not surprising. I'm not surprised by that. I thought you were gonna shock me with like a little.
He's like 5'9". He's 200 pounds. He's just as gritty.
He's definitely not traditional, but this year we are finding quarterback play in unconventional places. That's really what it is. We are finding the most unconventional guys, and they're rising to the top. I mean, this week was evidence of that more than ever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you have a guy that you like that's emerged?
Well, he's not going to come out this year.
Oh. Well, I'll take it. I'm just curious.
Oregon's Dante Moore.
Dante Moore, yeah.
Really impressed me.
Phenomenal.
Really, just ice in his veins, yes. Cold, cool, calm, collected the entire total opposite of his head coach, who was over there looking like he was on coke half the game. But I mean,
never, but okay.
Very calm pose. I figured it was probably smelling salts. Everybody was going, "Oh, he was on coke. Look at this is the characteristics." He's on coke, and I'm like, I think it's just smelling salts, but he's
a real passionate guy. All right. He's cool. Dante Moore, though, very, very, and I actually picked Oregon. I was supposed to be at the whiteout game. I did not make it there, unfortunately, which I am devastated about because it was a beyond epic game.
Yeah.
But I picked Oregon to win that game because I honestly think there is, and this goes back to what I was saying about guys that are gritty and gamers. That's what he is. I mean, I would bet on him. I'd put him in a foxhole with me. You know what I mean? He seems to be unflappable to a degree, and he's still got a lot of football ahead of him, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I like that pick.
The Pavia, though, surprises me, just to go back, because look, I get it. I loved Baker Mayfield because when he was coming out, because he was a leader and he was gritty, and you could see how well he kept that team blended together with, just his personality. His personality is perfect for that.
Yeah.
And same thing with Jalen. Jalen Hurts, I get everybody wants to crap on him. That offense is miserable to watch. But hey, they're 4-0. They're winning football games. They're scoring points when they have to. They're getting the job done in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think of with Pavia is it's like, they are pulling that offense is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's the complete opposite of Philadelphia. They throw a lot of gimmick type orbit motion and misdirection. They do all kinds of weird gimmicky things. And he's got some ball handling ability that's kind of like Tua.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a big arm. He's not really a great athlete. He's an okay athlete. He's just tough and gritty. And he's 5'9". He's 5'9". That's what scares the absolute crap out of me because it's like with Kyler Murray, I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. I think most people know that. But the one thing that I acknowledge that helps him in his game is the fact that even though he's 5'9", he protects himself as a runner. And he's so athletic, he can do it and be effective. Diego's not going to do that. So I'll be really surprised to see how that ends up going. I mean, if he comes out and he shocks me, he goes to the combine and runs a 4.5 40. then I'll eat my words.
We'll remember this. But you know his path though, right? Like where he came.
Yeah, no, we've had his private quarterback coach, Tom George. He's been on this
it's
podcast
kind
a couple of times.
It's not hard to see why he's become a little bit of a cult hero in the SEC.
No, I can see. I totally get that. I'm just saying, as a pro prospect, that's what shocks me.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes we are going to have guys that end up being figures in college football that they're not going to pan out, and maybe that's not
Tim Tebow.
That's not what it is. But if he can help Vanderbilt finally stop being like not a laughing stock, but like someone that people kind of point to in the SEC is why it's not complete. If he can help them be better, I mean, that's what he does. I think he's involved.
I don't. Let me clarify. I don't want to take away from what he's.
No, I know what you're saying. I understand.
It's fun. I love watching.
It's really fun.
Okay, and I think Vanderbilt legitimately has a chance to make some noise in the rest of the SEC, and he is the glue to that team.
He really is.
If anybody watched the SEC show on Netflix, you saw it every time Vanderbilt came on the freaking TV. He is the glue there at Vanderbilt for Clark Lee. So
yeah,
I from a college standpoint, I love him. I think that he's awesome. He's done great things. Yeah. I'm just saying, as a pro prospect, man, I'm shocked at this point to hear NFL scouts talking about him going, yeah, he might actually play quarterback.
There's something there, and we'll have to see how it goes, but there is a spark in him and a tenacity in him, and kind of I don't know what the word is, but he's dangerous, and you can't always predict what he's going to do. You can't stop him. It's been very hard for even some good teams to figure out how to stop him. I mean, this week, they played Utah State, which wasn't as big of a test, but they still put up 55 points. This is their first 5-0 start since 2008, I believe, which is crazy.
I think James Franklin time, wasn't that? Crazy,
right? Oh, what a time.
Crazy, right?
But I got to ask you, I don't know if you saw that game at all, but what interested me in that game was not Pavia. It was actually the kid that came in when Bryson Barnes got hurt. They said there's an undisclosed injury. I think 3 touchdowns and a fumble. 3 interceptions and a fumble was like was pretty much his max for that. But the guy who stepped in, his name was Jacob Conover. I don't know if that name rings a bell, but he's formerly from BYU, from ASU, really high prospect out of high school, but didn't ever really kind of find a home. I think it was BYU first, and they tried it at ASU, didn't work. But he came into the game, and and nothing was going right for Utah State, so it is what it is. But he came in and he played not even a full fourth quarter, threw for 92 yards, 2 touchdowns, and completed almost 80% of his passes. And it was kind of like, oh, is this going to be the guy for them going forward? Because Bryson Barnes is not panning out. So
yeah, Bryson's undersized, lacks tools and traits.
Yes.
I caught the tail end of that because I was leaving it on for
the next game.
Kentucky, South Carolina. Yeah, that was about to come on right after it.
It's a bit of a deep cut, but it intrigued me because we are getting these kinds of games where guys are going in, young guys are playing because they have to. We've seen more freshman quarterback performances that are surprising than ever. So that was a name that kind of stuck with me. And I'm curious to see if they'll, Bronco Mendenhall was like, oh, we're not going to switch up quarterbacks, but maybe. So I would be interested to see if he gets the start. And maybe this is the beginning. They play at Hawaii, so maybe.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you have to be careful with, performances like that you see is the fact that the defense that they're going up. First off, they were up by like 30.
It's garbage time. I get it. I understand.
So they're in total prevent, but it's also they're game planning for a different quarterback.
Yeah.
So if that other quarterback comes in, the backup comes in, he plays a total different style of football. Sometimes that's the spark that you get because a defense hasn't game planned for that. It shakes
you up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't watch it hard enough to be able to tell you,
I'm
oh
weird.
yeah, this guy looked at all these different. He flashed, and I wasn't paying attention that much because I think we had the tail end of LSU Ole Miss going on at that point.
Which
So
I don't think I even watched a bit of that. I was like, no, thank you. I was also at San Jose State, Stanford, the good old Bill Walsh legacy game. So, which ended up being like not great football, but crazy ending. So we had a lot of craziness in endings and overtimes this week, which was nuts. I think there was like 6 games that went to overtime, and of those, like 4 went to double. And then of those, 4 were like ranked teams, something like that. So,
well, Florida State was one of them Friday night.
if they had just gone for 2 at the
yeah.
end of regulation, none of this like wouldn't be. And I was sitting there talking to my husband, and I was like, go for 2. Why would you want to go into overtime? You see that hillside, right? Like this is not, that's an environment. And those kids were so close to the field. That was terrifying.
Yeah, that's the fastest field rush I've ever seen in my life.
It was scary.
It was
And
like that
having
guy,
been on the field
the
for
ball
one of these-
hadn't even stopped bouncing, and it was flooded.
I don't care if it makes me sound old, because I am old, but like I'm not a fan anymore. Like that was borderline scary with the guys that were still there in the end zone getting trampled. Yeah. Like the guy flipping the quarterback off. Like, come on. Like it was just, I'm kind of over it now. I don't think the generation of kids now understands the decorum and, the finesse that come with a field storming. So no more for you. You don't, no.
Field storming card revoked.
Yes.
By Emily.
Thank you.
Go. Virginia,
yes.
No more. No more
for anybody. They should have to attend like a field storming, like etiquette class, like just so that you understand.
Make it part of the freshman orientation.
Oh my God. Yes. Because honestly, we've gotten away from why it was fun, and now it's just chaos and crazy and like scary. And I understand people being like, no more. Now I'm on that side. I used to never be like that because I thought it was fun, but it's not fun anymore. It's not. So. But yeah, that game was nuts.
That was an insane game too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Chandler Morris, though, he's one of those guys, right? I mean, at least he has been relatively consistent at Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, so he was at North Texas for a couple years, and he looked really good there for the level. And then, so the question was he going to be able to come up and play at this level? And he's, so far, first quarter of the season, he's answered that.
Yeah.
Or first third, I guess we're at now.
That's
again, you're kind of looking at a guy that's smaller, not as traitsy, has to be more technical. Looks like he's taken a step forward with that. I mean, you also have to think about the turnover Virginia had on that roster this year.
Yeah.
Tremendous turnover. And that usually makes your job harder as a quarterback, especially building the chemistry and making some of the throws that he made in that game. So there's definitely some positives there. But at best, I'm still looking at him as like, he's probably an undrafted free agent,
Wow.
And that's the thing with this quarterback class. I think Carson Beck has done a really good job in the opportunities that he's had.
Okay.
He's going to have his off the field stuff to answer. The off the field stuff, the drama, the nonsense.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be answered in the draft process, and that's what he's going to have to figure out. Should be already have figured out how he's going to answer that when he gets there.
Yeah.
I think Nussmeier's still up there for me. I know that was a tough performance. I think it's probably more of a lower body injury that's messing with him.
What do you think of Luke Altmaier at Illinois?
See, I've liked him as a mid-round to late round guy for the last couple of years. But there's also not been that progression there either, where he could be like a Sam Ellinger, a Riley Leonard. That's the kind of quarterback that he's going to be, Okay. Now he's not as big as either one of those guys. He's smaller, but that's the type of quarterback that he is, where he could be a developmental third. If you could get that passing, his passing mechanics kind of figured out, you have a guy that, is a potential pretty good backup. And now we're talking about him being more like Tyson Bagent, than we're talking about him being those other two.
I like him because he's consistent and he's accurate. And he's one of only 4 guys that have yet to throw an interception.
Except for the Indiana game, you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like there's one of these games, for all of these
all
guys,
of them have, yeah, exactly.
Where you're just
which maybe it says something about scheduling early on, as opposed to, because I feel like usually we have to wait for those kinds of games later. But I felt like there were bigger matchups earlier on this year, that were tougher, and teams are still figuring it out. And
the out of conference, the out of conference for a lot of people is a lot better. That's absolutely sure, for sure.
I like him though. I like him, and I know another one you're not going to care for too much, but Joey Aguilar, I love, and that's not because he's San Francisco City fellow DVC alum. Like he's the Bay, and so I've loved watching his journey. But he's I don't trust him as much, right? A little bit scary at times, but definitely a good quarterback.
He's one that's played better than I thought he would.
Okay.
Because when I watched him at App State, I thought he's not going to work at Tennessee because he can't drive the ball to the sideline consistently and accurately, and that's all the Tennessee really runs.
Nobody should play at App State, so just disregard that.
Don't tell Daniel Jeremiah that now.
I no love lost with App State, but I understand what you mean. It was, I think a lot of people going in were like, is he going to be able to come in?
I didn't see it.
But I think he's risen to the occasion. I mean, it's not perfect. Okay. I get that, but I think that he shows real brilliance at the position at times. And I think that his journey has made him the kind of guy that you can count on, that you would want to give the ball to.
He's probably, again, developmental 3, right? Nobody's going to draft him thinking he's their immediate backup quarterback, but he definitely has a chance. He's played a lot better than I thought he would, which is good for him. Ty Simpson's kind of starting to settle in. He had a fantastic game against Georgia.
I was going to bring him up next, but I know he still has another year, right?
Yeah, he probably doesn't come out this year.
Yeah,
that's the other thing about the quarterback position now is if they've got any eligibility left, you could pretty much assume they're going back to school.
Yeah.
The quarterback money in the NIL is absolutely insane right now.
Crazy.
What I'm hearing, what it will be next year is even crazier than it was this past year. So,
really?
Well, you also have to think too, we're about to go into the one portal era, the one portal window.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
God.
Now you've got to get it done early. So that means anybody who's got money is going to put it up early. There's no more late shaking down, donors, no more late shaking down the institutions. Why can't I think of what they're called? The collectives. Thank you.
Thank you to yourself. You're welcome.
Exactly. Yeah, I remembered. So
we got
that all that has to be put up front now. So, November, December is going to be all about collection basically, and getting people to buy into the investing.
What's crazy is in the post game, I've been hearing more questions from reporters to coaches about how much it costs to land a guy. and I come from old school journalism. Like 15 years ago, you don't talk about money. I also come from like a family and a community where you just don't talk about money. It's so gauche and I hate it. But I've heard several reporters be like, oh, I can't remember who it was, if it was Lane Kiffin. I think they asked like, how much would it cost to land a guy like that? And then they asked the Arkansas coach recently about money and their answer. It's and I'm like, this is so cringe to me that we're doing that. And that's like, why are we giving a voice to that? Like, I don't want to.
So here's what I think has caused that issue.
Yeah.
Sports in general has turned into insider prevalent journalism, right? So the top people in the NFL in terms of that we consider journalists are Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero,
Yeah,
these
people
insiders.
that break news and that
Right.
get
And
things first. Yeah. I
so
get it.
so who are these people? Where are they getting this info from? They're getting them from agents. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Like when I was younger and first coming up, I thought that they like people in the league would call them and tell them, hey,
Okay, but
hey,
what about college football? Where are they getting it?
well, it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
They're not getting it
So
from SIDs. They're getting it from
agents.
I think it's also people inside the athletic department.
Well, it could be that too, but I think
You
it's
know what I
mostly
mean? Like
agents.
they all have guys in there, not general manager guys, but like I don't know what to call them, but they're ops guys, and they're close to the coach and they're close to whoever. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how some of these people know that,
Sometimes this stuff gets around second, third hand too. That's the
yeah.
thing,
Or it
because
comes out
everybody
in
knows
DMs.
everybody. They're talking,
Or
right?
somebody
DMs,
leaks DM.
right? But
The
no,
news.
I think what it is because of this insider prevalent
Mhm.
sort of journalist setup that sports has become.
Yeah.
These reporters, if they want to make a name for themselves, they have to get inside info, and the easiest way to break it is to ask the guy directly. If he happens to give you a great quote, then you got a great quote, and you've got insider news, and now everybody's talking about it.
It's crazy.
So
I hate it.
I'm right there with you. I think I don't mind talking about money in this instance because it's part of team building.
I don't think
don't
in the
want to
context
go
of asking a coach how much it would cost to
exactly.
I don't think that there's any context in where you should be doing that. Like
Yeah, you're not going to go
that's
ask.
just you trying to get a headline for your piece, like or get clickbait.
Exactly.
I can't.
You don't go ask Bill Gates, how much did his divorce cost him? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right. How much was your settlement? Like, no, we're not doing that. Let him focus on. Luckily, so I had a mentor early on, Kevin Gemmell. He used to write for ESPN years ago, and he always taught me, don't do that. Like, build your trust with your sources. Build that. Don't just tweet out things because they tell them to you, because it's not valuable in the long run. Now, I don't think he could have predicted that we would end up being a Twitter first environment. So maybe like hindsight, it wouldn't have been bad, but I wouldn't trade it because I was able to build my career, and my sources and my coaches and my people that I talk to know that I will go to the grave with all of the secrets I have, which is fine. But
that's what I'm saying is it would be really easy for me to get up there and say, hey, I heard blah, 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 this and that.
But then it's like a bridge burn. And like,
yeah,
why
exactly. Now that guy, he's not going to tell me anything beyond that.
You're blocked. So,
but that's the other thing too, is I think a lot of people, they don't understand that with sports, you can learn the sport, right?
Yeah.
It's like that old parable in the Gospels where they talked about you can feed a man a fish. You give a man a fish, you feed him for the day, but if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. And so that was kind of the approach that I took coming into media and stuff, and especially scouting, is hey, if I can learn how to scout myself, then I don't need all these NFL guys telling me exactly who's good. Like Matt Miller. Yeah, I had to do that. Sorry. No, just obligatory mention of Matt Miller for being the guy that takes the fish. But with that being said, if you're going to understand how the draft is going to go, you still have to know like what they think.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's more so trading those opinions, picking brains, and shout and bringing a conversation to the forefront. Right. But that was the approach that I took too. So I'm kind of with you there, but it's the same. It's just our journalism sucks. And now,
it's different now. To bring this full circle back to quarterbacks, I'm going to give you, I have one guy I want to shout out at the end before we're done, but I'm going to give you the guy who topped our PFSN ranking list. And I'm curious what you're going to think about him. Again, not a guy I don't think he's trying to see if he was like eligible or if he's going to be one of those guys that, but I can't remember what year
Transfers up.
What?
He's one of these guys that transfers up. You don't know if he's going draft.
Yeah, I
if
just
he's transferring
well, no, I just
up.
know if he's gonna. I don't know what year he is, but okay, so it's Devon Dampier from Utah.
Oh my goodness!
So he was our top rated
my
guy
goodness.
this week, and it's crazy because you look at last week and you look at Texas Tech, and it's like, I mean, disaster. Like everything that could go wrong went wrong for him, right? But then he comes in this week and is like, nah, that's not me, and
So
has a great game.
Yeah, let's put a little bit of perspective onto Dampier against
Okay.
and the entire Utah team against Texas Tech. So Texas Tech, first off, no slouch. All right. Good team.
Yes.
Built really well. I've talked about them all off season. Love Texas
Yeah.
Tech.
Well coached, good athletic players, competitive.
They did a great job attacking the positions they did in the portal. Yeah. So, okay. 10 a.m. kickoff. Local time.
Yeah.
You know anybody who's ever gone out there and played football at 10 a.m.?
I could say 11, but I know 10. Yeah, 10's a little earlier.
10's early.
10's
early. You know what I mean? Like that's so you gotta wake up early. You're thrown off your routine because now you got to eat earlier. It throws your entire routine off. So I think that was a really bad decision. Whoever okayed that to kick off at 10 a.m. in Utah. Terrible idea. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And you know, by the time they kind of got woke up and got to a later time, they were blown out. They were already dead. They were in the water. But no, I like Dampier.
Okay.
I liked him last year at New Mexico.
Yeah.
Again, small.
Yes.
But very athletic.
Super. I mean, his escapability is crazy. I mean, he's
that Kyler Murray-esque type athlete. He's got that kind of ability. The thing is, he doesn't protect himself at this point. So that's something you want to see get cleaned up. But he's got the arm talent. He's got the athletic ability.
Yeah.
That UCLA game was really good in week 1.
Yeah.
So he's probably a mid-round guy in this class.
The game that I was at Wyoming, there was a little more of a falter. And then you're like, okay, so he hasn't really played, consistently like that. We know he can. So I'm hoping when they come in to their next game that we'll see the same guy and that he doesn't go back, I
think he's a mid-round guy, and it's strictly based on traits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The consistency, he'll figure that out. I mean, he was a 1,000-yard rusher at New Mexico last year. I think there's only 5 guys in college football history who have thrown for 3,000 and rushed for 1,000 in a year, and he's one of them.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't realize that. That's impressive.
They put that up, I think, during the Utah-Texas Tech game.
Nice. Great.
And I was like, that is fascinating because it's up there. Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, I think, was one of them.
Yeah.
So he's in that category of quarterback, and he's put up that kind of production.
Okay.
But he's going to be probably mid-round. You're probably looking at like a Dorian Thompson-Robinson with him.
Oh,
that's the kind of.
Oh my God.
A little bit more athletic. He's
built
better than DTR was. But it's that same type of player.
Well, I thought that was interesting with our algorithm and our metric. That's who ended up. I mean, it's not surprising, but our list was very interesting this week. I definitely recommend people going to check it out and see how their quarterback graded. But the one guy I wanted to give a shout out to because I've never heard of this guy, and he came into this game, after the starting quarterback got hurt, which is a theme that we're seeing. Lunch Winfield. Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, sophomore quarterback, Lunch Winfield. Not his actual real name. His real name is Dwayne, but he goes by Lunch. And that's what is on that's where everywhere Lunch. But his real name.
I wouldn't go by Lunch because when you go by lunch, now you got to go buy lunch.
Oh boy, that was tough. That was a tough one. But he comes in. So little context is Louisiana is playing, I believe it was Marshall, and they're trailing them, right? Like they're down 34-7, 17 points they're down. And he comes in And again, I don't know if it was an injury, if it was just like this quarterback was doing so poorly, the starting quarterback. He comes in 6:55 left in the third quarter. He leads them on 6 consecutive scoring drives to then win the game in overtime, 54-51.
See, I wasn't even tracking that.
I know. And why would you, right? Because like this is a complete surprise.
I had seen that like Marshall was up by 17. I quit paying attention. Like I didn't even realize that game went to overtime.
It did. And it was like you would have written it off because they were, in the third quarter, they're winning by 17 points. Like that's, this kid comes in and apparently he is like the Booby Miles of this team in the sense that like people love him. He's like very charismatic and like gets people going. And he really did. 6'1", 217. Sophomore. Okay. He can run, went to Lutcher High School. He's incredible. And I don't know what'll happen if he'll keep playing or whatever, but he gets my like star of the week because great name.
Check it out. I have to go check it out.
I mean, it's worth a look and it's worth definitely watching. I don't know who they end up playing next, but we'll see. I mean, if you're going to lead a team, a comeback like that, I mean, that's epic proportions. I think it was their biggest comeback since like 82. Yeah, Louisiana's biggest comeback win since 1982. So
yeah, I have to hit
shout out Lunch.
Shout out Emory Hunt. I'm gonna have to hit him up. That's his alma mater.
Oh yeah, Louisiana. Oh he know. I'm sure he was tweeting about it.
I'm sure he can tell me all about this guy. But hey, I
didn't see this. It skipped under the radar for me until I was doing when I saw this kid pop up in our metrics. He was number 9 on our list of top 10 quarterbacks this week. And I was like, who is this person? Because his name is so interesting. And then I'm watching the film and I'm watching the game, the end of it. And I was like, this is crazy. So shout out Louisiana, Lunch Winfield.
I mean, he very well may be a galvanizer in that locker room.
Yes.
And I will say, when you go buy lunch all the time, that helps.
I think the headline for the article that they put on their Louisiana website was something about like a late lunch. And it was pretty good. Yeah. I was like, all right, okay. You could do a lot with that.
There's no word. You can't blend lunch and dinner together or lunch and supper from wherever you're from. Louisiana might be a supper state. It might not be a dinner state.
They might. But now
there's no way to really blend that.
Now lunch is the main meal. So that was my little shout out for, you got to end on a feel good story like that. There's so much stuff going on, but this was like, what a time for Louisiana. So I'm happy for them.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good. If you're good.
Yeah. I think that was more quarterback talk than I ever thought I would do. So.
Well, get used to it because we got a lot more to get through. We got a whole.
Can we just talk about running backs
left this season?
Sometimes.
If we talked about running backs, Jimmy would never go to bed. There's so many good ones. I was thinking that watching. I'm like, there are so many good running backs. It's so hard to.
The Doak Walker vote this week was so close because there were so many guys on the ballot that were, I think Memphis running back won out, but it was close and we had to go down to the wire voting. So.
Yeah, even from a pro prospect standpoint, there are so many guys. So many. It's not
shout out Ashton Genty, who finally had the game that we all knew he should be having. So
they let him go back to his stance.
Did you see my tweet about that? I was like this.
No,
I went to the Raiders Chargers game to interview him for a story I'm doing that's going to come out this week. And I had to hold it because that game didn't go well. And the next game didn't really go well. And one of the things I asked him in the locker room when I got to have my one-on-one was, why are you letting them change your stance? I understand it's Chip Kelly. He's a legend and he's your coach and Ashton's a good soldier. But I was like, and Spencer Danielson knows this is what works. This is what makes you who you are. And as soon as he changed it, boom. First rookie running back to have 3 touchdowns in a game since Bo Jackson. Ashton Genty, ladies and gentlemen. All of you who were saying he was a bust, just go kick rocks because that's crazy. So
who's the other running back that stands like that in the NFL? There's another one that I was watching.
Really?
There's another one that's doing it.
No way the same exact. I mean, Ashton stands straight up and down.
Yeah, it was practically straight up. There's a very slight slope.
Ashton is flat-footed. And if you watch the movement, I took a video and I slowed it down so you can see the jump he makes. It's like poetic. Oh, so shout out Ashton. I'm excited for him.
Maybe it's Bijan. Does Bijan kind of have a tall stance?
Well, make sure you have the answer for us for next time.
Yeah, I need to go back on the tape. I've been going through so much today. If you can't tell, my eyes are red. That's why. Like, been tape. Nothing but
since
tape.
You're back, why don't you take us out?
Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in to Sick Podcast Draft Digest. For Emily, I'm John. We'll be back at it later. Y'all take it easy and get ready for more great college football and NFL action, and we're going to get ready for the draft. Jimmy, let's roll.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Draft Digest on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.